Hey you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making this fold over beanie Christmas theme. I don't recall where I got this yarn. Super sorry. I do know where I got it from. I got it from Hobby Lobby. I just don't remember the name of it. Also, we are going to be using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Don't we just love like the vomit pool from the center? Then we have to find that one piece that we have to pull from. Good thing is I didn't mess it up too much. No tangles, so that's good. All right, so to start off for round one, we're gonna do a slip knot. And this is how I like to do my slip knot. Do whatever works best for you. I just found this the easiest way to do it for me. But everybody does their slip knots in these different ways. This is the least complicated. So here I'm just showing you in detail how I go ahead and make my slip knot. All right, so what we're going to be doing after we finish up with this slip knot is we're going to be chaining 46 chains or stitches. So it really depends on how long you want your beanie to be, but I go ahead and chain 46 because I want to make it long enough to where I can create that fold over look that we want for our fold over beanie. All right, so I finished my 46 chains and now I'm gonna go ahead and start on my technical round one. From here, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm going to do a half double crochet, not in that first stitch we see there. That's the first one closest to our hook. We're gonna be going into that second stitch from our hook, if you can tell. So I went ahead and pointed that out for you guys, and here you can see where I'm going in, and this is where I'm going to be doing my first half double crochet. Really important that you place it in the right spot so that way you have nice crispy clean edges. And you wouldn't be watching my video unless you see some stitch markers. So this is how I keep count of how many rows I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my stitch marker. And from here, what we're going to be doing is a 41 half double crochets and then 5 slip stitches. The 41 does count the half double crochet that we just did. So it's a total of 41 half double crochets for this round and 5 slip stitches at the end. Here I'm showing you how we do the half double. You wrap around the hook once, go in through the middle of the chain, and then we're going to go ahead and drop a loop and pull through all 3 loops. Again, I'm going to show you. We go ahead and wrap around that hook, go in through the middle of the chain, pull up a loop, and then pull through those 3 loops on our hook. And we're going to continue to do this 41 times in total, and then 5 slip stitches at the end. I'm going to come back once we get to the 5 slip stitches. All right, so we finished our 41 half double crochets. Now we're going to work on our 5 slip stitches. If you haven't done a slip stitch before, I'm going to go ahead and show you how that's done. Of course, I am going to have timestamps on this video. If any of you want to fast forward or go to a certain section, you can always go ahead and use those timestamps. So to do a slip stitch, we go ahead and pull through the chain, we pull up a loop, and then we pull that loop through the loop on our hook. And again, we go in through the middle of the chain, pull up a loop, and then we pull through the loop on our chain. Again, go in through the chain, pull up a loop, and pull through the loop on our hook. And you do that 5 times at the end. And then at the very end, what we're gonna do is chain 1 and then turn our work. All right, so now we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. And then to start this round, we're going to be doing 5 slip stitches, and then we're going to do 41 half double crochets. Now for this row, I'm going to be showing you exactly where we're going to need to stick in our hook. You're going to be sticking it in directly in between that V, as you can see there. I'm pointing it out here. We're going to go right in the middle of those two. So we shouldn't have like 3 loops on our hook when we go through the initial loop. We should only have 2 right here. As you can see, we have 2. And then we're going to go ahead and draw up a loop and pull through both of those loops that we have on our hook there. And then we're going to do the same thing 4 more times. So again, we're going to go in the middle of that chain we see here. And we're going to draw up a loop and then go through those 2 loops. Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and do that 5 times in total in the beginning, and then we're going to do 41 half double crochets. All right, so here I'm going to point out exactly where you need to put in your hook just so you can see it. I know it's pretty hard to see, so I went ahead and did a freeze frame arrow pointing exactly in between that chain right there, right in the middle. Pull up a loop and then finish our half double crochets. So from here, again, you're going to chain one and turn your work, and then you're going to be doing 41 half double crochets and 5 slip stitches at the end. As you can see, this is going to be the pattern again until we completely make our foundation for our beanie and it's able to wrap around our head. So you can test it every now and again as you're doing the rows to see how many you need to do. I personally did 50 rounds. I have a big head. So if you don't have to do that many, or you don't have as big of a head as mine, of course you don't have to do as many rows. Just keep on, wrapping it around your head to see if it is, big enough. Okay, so I also wanted to jump in here. As you can see, I have some trouble right here getting through the slip stitch portion at the end, the 5 slip stitches, just because in the previous row I did it too tight. So it's very important that when you are doing those slip stitches, try to be as loose as possible. Of course, you want it to be pretty tight, but not too tight. You'll just know when you know when you do it. But here, I did it a little too tight, and I made sure in the next row to go a lot looser, not a lot looser, but a little looser, so that way I'm able to fit my crochet hook through without having to struggle like you can see I'm doing right here. All right, so again, we're just repeating what we did previously. It's back and forth, back and forth. So if you, of course, started with the 5 slip stitches, when you turn your work, you're going to do the 5 slip stitches first, and then you're going to do 41 half double crochets. And then the next round, you're going to be starting with the 41 half double crochets and then 5 slip stitches. Make sure you don't forget to chain one between each row and turn your work. Very important. And I will meet back up with you once I have finished my 50 rows, because again, big head. but make sure to adjust it to your head size as you're doing it. So keep on testing it around your head to make sure it is big enough, or to make sure that it's not too big. And I believe I show you one more row of me doing it just so you can get the gist. I am going to have timestamps down below in case you want to skip this part and get to where we connect the ends together. You guys, this yarn is more beautiful than I even thought it was. Like, when I got to this part, I was like, oh my gosh, this is cute. This could be a skirt. Anyways, maybe that'll be another video. Like, look at this pattern. Isn't it so cute? Okay, whatever. I need to stop. So now we're going to go ahead and combine the ends, or connect the ends. So what we do is we just fold it over, and you can see where we have our slip stitches, and then, you know, the 41 half double crochets. So slip stitches line up with slip stitches, and the 41 half double crochets line up with the 41 half double crochets. You're just folding it over. Pretty simple. And from here, what we're gonna do is slip stitch to connect it all the way up, and I'm gonna show you how to do that here. All right, so now we're gonna get very close and personal, because I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly where I place my hook. I did size down to a 5mm crochet hook for this, by the way. As you can see, I'm just going in through that first stitch that I see on the other side. You just pretty much find that first stitch. I don't know how else I can really explain that part. And you're just gonna be slip stitching all the way up. So what you do is you go in through the middle of the V for the next one, go in through the V on the other side, and then we go ahead and draw up a loop. So pull the yarn through those 2 loops, and then that last one that we had on our hook, we go ahead and pull through that as well. And we're going to continue this. So as you can see, we're going to go in through that first loop, go in through that second loop, and again we're going in through the middle, the V of that chain. And then we're going to go ahead and pull up the yarn through those 2 loops and then pull through that final loop that we have on our hook. Again, you're going to repeat this all the way up through till you get to the 5 slip stitches, and you're also going to continue the slip stitches on those 5 slip stitches at the top as well, as you can see I did here. Okay, so I went ahead and cut off the yarn. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is turn the beanie inside out. And this is actually going to be the outside of the beanie, so it's more so outside in, I guess. So wait, does that make sense? Whatever. Anyways, you guys, so on this part, what we're gonna do is make this hole at the top smaller. So when you cut off that piece of yarn like I did, make sure that you still have a good amount of yarn there, so that way you're able to weave it in, because we're going to be using a tapestry needle to yarn around. So I go ahead and chain 1, and then I tighten it and then pull the yarn back all the way through, and then I just tighten it more. And then from here I'm going to go ahead and use my tapestry needle. And the easiest way to thread a needle is just folding the yarn in half and then sticking it through. It's a trick I learned a while ago and very easy. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know this, but in case you didn't, that's a great way to do it. So from here, we're gonna go ahead and get a little bit closer, and I'm gonna show you what I did. So I'm going through the very top portion, as you can see, of the yarn right there. Wherever you see like the bumps, that's where you're going to be pulling your tapestry needle through with your yarn. And you can go through a couple at a time, however many will fit on your tapestry needle, depending on how long it is, of course. I go through like maybe I go through like 2 or 3 or so, as you can see. And from here, you go through those bumps at the top, and then you're going to pull the needle all the way through, tighten as you go, and continuously do that all the way around. I'm a visual learner, so I'm gonna let you guys watch this. Of course, if you have any comments, you want me to do this in more detail, let me know. It's kind of hard for me to explain. It's easier for me to just show you, but again, it does not have to be perfect. Just try to go for the tops of each bump. You'll see that the bumps are kind of sticking out a little bit, and those are where you want to draw your needle through. All right, and I am finishing up going all the way around. Once you've made it all the way around, you just want to stick your needle through and pull out the yarn. And at that point, you can pretty much, remove the tapestry needle from the yarn, take that off, and just pull the yarn as tight as you possibly can. But for me, I'm putting a little poof at the top of my beanie. So I'm not going to make the hole disappear completely. I'm actually going to leave a little room so that way I can put my poof on at the end. But if you want to stop here and just make this your beanie, that's perfectly fine. Just keep on going around and tightening it as much as you possibly can to close up that circle at the top so there's no hole. And then if you want to go ahead and flip it inside out again, if the other side looks better to you or it looks, more put together because this is where you're going to be weaving in your yarn, then you can definitely do that. As you can see, like I'm sticking my hand in there or my finger in there just so I can make sure that hole's still there. But then again, I'm tightening, but I'm not making the hole like too big. So after I get to this point, I go ahead and tie a knot. I tie a couple knots, maybe like 4 or 5. I just make sure it's as tight as possible because when I weave in my yarn at the end, it just makes it easier and I know it's very secure. And right here, that's where I'm just taking that tapestry needle and just making sure there's still a little hole right there that I can use to attach my little poof I'm about to make. All right, so now I'm gonna make my little puff. From here, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the yarn around my 4 fingers 50 times. And my puff came out pretty small. You can always make it bigger, and there's plenty of tutorials on how to do so. I just went ahead and went with the little puff, and I was satisfied with it. So to take it off, I'm trying to keep the yarn together, so I decided to use 2 crochet hooks. Doesn't matter what size. You don't have to do it this way. I chose to do it this way, but I use that to try to keep the yarn together, and then I just remove it off of my fingers. Okay, and that's how I keep it intact. Then I go ahead and snip off the yarn. And then what I'm gonna do is pull out some more of that same colored yarn, a pretty good size, and then cut that off. And then what you're gonna do is use that yarn, put it underneath, right in the middle in between your 2 hooks. And this is how you're going to tie the yarn in place to keep it together. So you're gonna tie a couple knots here, as you can see. Do as many as you want. I did a pretty substantial amount. I wrap it around twice before I tie it. So as you can see, I did like 1, 2, and then tighten it, 1, 2, and then tighten it. And I do this a couple times until I feel like I'm satisfied with it. I just want to make sure it doesn't unravel or come apart or anything like that. Some people even use hot glue. Do whatever works best for you, but this is the method that worked best for me. All right, so from here, because we have our 2 hooks, it makes it super easy for us to cut our yarn. So you're just gonna go ahead and stick your scissors through, and on the very top of that hook where the yarn is, you're just gonna cut all the way across in a straight line, as straight as you possibly can. And make sure that you get all of the loops, like cut all the loops pretty much, because sometimes you can miss a few. With having the hook right there to help keep everything together, it made it easier for me to make sure that I was getting all of the loops. As you can see here, I'm gonna miss a few because I can't pull the hook out. So I go back in and then I cut some more until I can take the hook out easily, excuse me. So I do that on both sides, and as you can see, still missed a few right there, so I'm just cutting that piece off. Boom. And then I'm gonna go ahead and turn it and do the other side. Now here I just keep it completely flat, and I just fluff it out a bit, but again, it is still flat. And I'm just cutting around, and I'm just snipping it, pretty much giving it a nice haircut, I guess, making sure everything is even around, and try to make the best circle that I possibly can. Once you've made your circle and you're, satisfied with how it looks around, you're just gonna go ahead and fluff it up. So I just shake it, fluff it up, do a little bit more haircut action, make it into a nice little poof, and then we're gonna attach it to our beanie. All right, so from here, what we're gonna do is go ahead and stick our hand through, so that way we can attach our puff. And I don't know what I was doing here. I was trying to stick it in just with my hands. This is not gonna work because the hole was too small. So I use a tapestry needle. You're gonna see that in a minute. All right, so with the extra pieces of long yarn that we still have left over from where we tied it initially, I'm gonna go ahead and use my tapestry needle. I'm using a plastic one this time around. It's a lot easier to work with, and I'm gonna be sticking 2 pieces of yarn through it, so it's just a lot easier, I guess. After I go ahead and pull that through, again, I fold over my yarn and then stick it through. Super easy. I'm gonna go ahead and use my needle and go through the center, and you're gonna see that here, and I'm just going to pretty much weave that yarn through that hole, and then from there you're just going to weave in your yarn into the hat seamlessly so you don't see anything. And I of course will be doing that off camera. I'm pretty sure you guys know how to weave in yarn. If you do want a video on that, on how you can weave it in seamlessly, I can always do another video showing you how to do that in more detail. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you guys, so from here I go ahead and tie the yarn together. There's a piece of yarn that was still sticking out from the initial beanie that I had, and then I use that piece to tie a knot with the puff yarn, those 2 pieces that we just stuck through. And I just tie that a couple times, and just to make sure that's very secure, and then I weave the yarn through the beanie seamlessly to hide that yarn. All right, so this is the finished product. As you can see, I'm folding it over. This is how we created our beautiful Christmas fold over beanie with a little puff at the top. And I mean little, it's so tiny. But it's cute. It's so cute. I love how it came out. I just want to take a moment just to say I appreciate everyone that has been commenting, liking my videos, subscribing to my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm just so grateful. And also, anyone that has been drawn to my Etsy account, thank you so much. Again, my Etsy is the same as my YouTube, Crafting in Neptune. It will be down in the description below. I appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys again soon. Bye.